Hey, what's up guys, Jeremy here. In the last video we've learned how to import 3D models to RoboDK and how to manage surface and curve accuracy using the importation settings. In this video we'll explore the different file formats that are accepted by RoboDK. Let's get started. So here we have the 3D model we imported in the last video. I'm gonna delete it for this example and I'll go for tool options. And in CAD, this time I'll make sure to use 0.1 everywhere so that we have kind of rounded faces. Click OK, perfect. Let's recenter that. And I will simply create a few frames, all a meter from one another. Okay. So if I open the same folder I used before, you have RDK logo file format. If you open this one, you will have 4 files. So it's all the same file, but it was exported in different file formats from the CAD software. So in this case here, we've used SolidWorks, but any other file or CAD software would do the exact same thing. So mainly RoboDK accepts 3 types of file formats. So you have STL, you have IGES, and you have STEP. So in order, I would recommend you to use STEP, then IGES, then STL. So if you can prioritize STEP, do so. If you can prioritize IGES, do so. And if you can't prioritize any of those 2, you can go down for STL. I will show you the difference between importing the different file formats. And I will also show you the difference between importing a step file 203 and a step file 214. So there's 2 step file format that you can generally export if you go in the parameters of your CAD software for the exportation. If you don't have any options, generally speaking, it exports something like a step 214, but otherwise you might be exporting a step 203. And I'll show you what are the differences at the end of the day. So let's start by simply drag and dropping the logo or the file on each of the frames I just imported. So if you drag and drop directly on a frame here in your jurisdiction tree, it will import the 3D model there. So, okay, for that, I'm just gonna move them a bit closer to one another. So let's press plus a few times here. Oops. Move that here, move that here, and this one here, and we'll just like rotate them like that so that we can see them in front of ourselves. Okay, minus a few times here. Perfect. So in order, here we have step 203, step 214, IGES, and STL. So first thing you'll notice is that IGES already has its color. So generally speaking, the IGES file won't have the, let's say, surface on top of all the surface, the one I just showed you in the previous video. So it won't happen with IGES. Here, if I open the tool and then change color, and if I select, let's say, the first step file here, so step, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to press / here so that you guys will see the name of, or you don't see the name of the objects. So that's, okay, that's useless. Sorry. So change color here. We'll go for select object. I'm going to select the first one here. So this is the step 203 that we imported. As you can see, we only have 101 or 101 surfaces and we don't have any colors. So that's pretty normal. This is one of the difference between step 214 and step 203. Step 203 do not keep colors. So if you saved or exported from your CAD software to step 203, you won't retrieve the colors. So there's not much to be done here. The only thing you could really do is come here and you can recolor stuff manually. So you click select faces. I can select this face here, let's say, and this face here. I can decide to apply some kind of blue color. I could have selected here, Control C, click OK. And then these two, Control V, perfect. And then I can select this surface here and go for a darker gray, something like that. So you can always recolor the objects you bring in by simply doing it manually. If you do the same thing for the one that was exported as step 214, so this one here, if you delete mesh here, you will have the colors that were added to your 3D model. Here you have you have the IGES file. So as you can see, we have the color. It will behave the same in terms of curvature. So depending on your importation settings, you will have difference between either a beautiful curve or more of a polygon style 3D model. You can see here the colors are a bit different. I don't really have any reason for that. The color will be a bit different. So if we were to compare, do a comparison real quick, here if you look at the gray is 80, 80, 80 here, and if you select this one here, it's still 80, 80, 80. The reason for, and still the color looks a bit different. The reason for that is sometimes you have kind of the top surface and the bottom surface, there's kind of a normal that will change the way light is reflected, or light from the software is reflected, and will change a bit the color. So anyway, it's the same color, but it won't show exactly the same because one is an IGES and one is a step file. So here, final file format we have is the STL. The STL won't ever give you as good as a result. It will be way lighter. So if you have very heavy 3D models, it could be a great idea to transform them to STL before importing those. It will be way lighter. But as you can see, it's not just, first of all, there's no color. So if you go tools and then change color and select this one here, you only have colors. You have way less surfaces. So here you only have 4 surfaces. That means that even recoloring it won't be easy, because here if I select this here, it will change kind of pieces of the color quite randomly. So recoloring it after the fact is not very easy. If I go for red here, you will see like most of the stuff is red. So recoloring is not the easiest on a STL file, but it still can be useful for lightweight, if I can say. But apart from that, I would not recommend using STL files. So again, step, IGES STL. Once you have a 3D model like that, you can save it in a format that will be easy for RoboDK to retrieve after the fact. So if I delete the STL here, if I delete the IGES, and I'm just gonna keep the here step 214. If I right click on it either here or right here, you will have the option to save as either an STL, so you can save just the mesh. You can save as a SLD. So SLD is a solid, it's a format we have in RoboDK, a PLY or WRL. So those are useful for other settings, but I would say that here you will most likely use save as SLD. If you do that, I can save it in the training module here, 3D model, blah, 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 here. Let's save it here in logo file format. It will save it RoboDK logo APT 214, save, perfect. And if I was to open a new station, Control N, reopen that folder here with robot file formats where I just saved the RoboDK logo APT SLD, drag and drop it, it will appear and the colors will already be set. The importation settings will already be there. I want to try something real quick. So, oops, reframe on it. If I create a new frame here, tool, options here, and CAD, and then fast import settings. And then if I go, by the way, I can report the same thing, open recent, and the same one I had before. Here, and let's say bring it here. You will see it won't be affected by the importation settings, because what we're doing here is when we first import from a step STL or we convert, like I said before, to the mesh format RoboDK uses. When we export in SLD or solid, it will keep that mesh conversion like embedded in the file we create. So when we re-import stuff, it won't apply the conversion because there is no conversion to be done. It's already done. And another thing too, you will see in the next video, we will have to create or import very heavy files, like in the, let's say around 100 meg, something like that. And that can take a few minutes to import depending on the settings you choose. But once it's imported you can right click, save as SLD, and then you can re-import it to RoboDK. It will be almost automatic. So the file will be loaded automatically without having to reconvert everything and wait for the process to take place. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for this video. I hope it was helpful. This is a relatively common issue people have, so retrieving the colors and understanding the difference between the different file formats that we accept. So that's great. In the next video, we will start talking about heavy 3D models. So what you're supposed to do when you have a 3D model that is, I don't know, 50, 60, 100, 300 megabytes, and what you can expect from a 3D model like that when you import it in RoboDK, how RoboDK will behave, and how you can make sure to not slow down your process afterwards. So you want to keep as many frames as possible so that your simulation is as fluid as possible. Okay, so that being said, I hope you liked it and have a great day, guys.